Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of D-Town, the free show for digital SLR shooters. I'm Larry and my buddy here is RC.
Hey everybody.
And today we have a really full show for you, and we have a great thing from Zack Arias coming up. And you hung out with him for quite a while.
Yeah.
And did a tip. Now he's not here today, but today we are here actually live. This is the very first time we've ever done this. We're actually streaming live, and we're going to start doing this now. So if you'll go to kelbytv.com/onair, you're going to start to see a lot of our stuff streaming live. So if we make a mistake, you get to watch it
first, like before anybody else does. And actually, the way the format's going to work is we're going to tape two shows. So if you're watching kelbytv.com/onair, you'll see two shows right at once. So we'll tape, and then there's going to be another break, and then we're going to tape a second show. So that show will probably air 1 week, and then the other show will air the second week. So you're going to catch live shows every 2 weeks. But the good part about it is that you get to watch 2 in 1. So
okay, so they actually
go to kelbytv.com/onair, and every second week you're going to see a live show that has 2 shows in it.
That's right.
And then you can just follow along on Google Plus.
And then you can always rewatch too, because we were going to keep the archives there.
Exactly, exactly. But there's a lot of people that actually like just kind of chilling out and just watching the show, and then, you know, why not? It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Before we actually do that, well, we're doing that now. Before we get to the Zack Arias thing, and Zack is phenomenal. I'll talk to you guys about that. But you have something you want to show us. I'm going to move this out of the way.
I was actually at WPPI, and then I took the red eye back, and I have yet to go to sleep. So you're watching me on no sleep for 2 days. Okay. But one of the things I saw at WPPI, these guys shared the booth with B&H, and this is a bag company called Petrol. Now, Petrol is the same. It's a sister company to like Manfrotto and Kata, and you've heard of Kata bags, and I carry a Kata bag. And I saw this one, and I thought it would be really cool, and I actually brought it back to show you guys because it's real different. Now, this is their Cambio bag, and the reason that it's different or kind of stood out to me is because of its purpose. They actually designed this just for videographers. So let me show you what this does, and you're going to want to slide that over. Okay. This is amazing. So looking at the wheels, there you see this little mechanism, and it's actually a pretty big wheel. This mechanism, well, first of all, you pull out like this. Then you flip this around, and it kind of locks the wheel in place. And you can do that on both sides. So I'm going to pull this one out. Flip that around, and now it won't roll. Now, once you've got that going on, check this out. And we don't really have enough room to do this. There's a little lock down here, a little latch, and then this just pops out. Now, it gets more dramatic. This, and I have to apologize to our folks here, because I didn't plan this ahead of time, and so now I know I'm going off camera. But I'm going to come around the front of the desk, and you guys can see this. It's actually a tripod in the camera, or in the camera bag. Now, we're most of the way there. Let me show you a couple other things real quick. This comes with it.
I'm just kind of like watching in rapt amazement.
I know, it's incredible. So you wouldn't have believed how many people were stopping in the hallways watching this thing or looking at it. And then this goes on here. So essentially, it's a roadshow kit for a videographer. And then it's got the standard, what you're used to, the Manfrotto plate, the quick release plate here. And so essentially, I guess, if you're a one-man, one-woman show and you're doing video on the road, you set up your camera and then go stand out in front of it. And it is a full-blown camera bag as well. So let me do this. And I got it as a carry-on, and I brought it back, so it actually does work on the airplane. But inside, you'll see it's a pretty cool camera bag. Now, in the show notes, we've got got all this stuff here. In the show notes, we've got where you can link to the Petrol website, and then also, this is available for sale at B&H. Now, normally this bag, because it's a very specialty kind of thing, it normally sells for over $700. B&H is now selling it on special for $500, and there's a $100 rebate. Trust me, this will not replace your tripod. So when you see this, it is a tripod, and I'm saying what it's used for videographers that want to have a roadshow kit like that. But the reason that you don't want to use it to replace your tripod, and still photographers like me and RC are probably not going to use something like this, at least not very much, is because once you fully extend it up here, you use a tripod for stability. And this thing, if you look at it, it's got some wiggle to it. And so it's not going to be a real stable platform unless you set it up, there's no wind or anything like that, set up your camera, and then you've got a remote. So that may be a way that you can use it. So it's not as solid as like a good set of tripod legs or something like that. But it's an amazing thing, and a ton of people were interested in it. I just thought it was a kind of a cool bag. So it's the Petrol Cambio bag. It's on sale right now, I think just through the end of this month. So just a few more days.
Nice.
There at B&H.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Anyway, we're going to take a break, but before we do, I want to talk to you guys about Photoshop World. Photoshop World is coming. So it's 24th through the 26th in Washington, D.C., March 24th through the 26th.
First time in D.C.
Make sure you take a look at the Photoshop World website, photoshopworld.com. Phenomenal instructors, phenomenal time. It's a Photoshop love fest. You get to do photography and lighting and Photoshop and post-processing and
Lightroom,
networking, hanging out in Lightroom. So it's going to be a great time. I'm really excited about it. So make sure you take a look at the website. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have our interview with Zack Arias. Stick around.
Composition. What is it? Does this work? What about this? Leading lines, rule of odds, the rule of thirds. Viewpoint, patterns, contrast, balance. Dead center is deadly. I'm Rick Salmon. I really hope you can join me for my latest class on Kelby training, Composition, the strongest way of seeing. I'll show you how to compose technically as well as emotionally.
Hi everybody, I'm David Zeiser. Hey, we have one great Kelby training video coming your way, and this time it's going to be on couples. What I'm trying to bring to this video is find the great locations to get some great photographs of your couples, how you can put great lighting on your couples, and then also how you can get great expressions. I can guarantee that you're going to love it. Join me on this Kelby training video, Shooting Couples.
Welcome back, everybody. You know, the commercial you just saw, Kelby Training, that's the reason we're here. There are so many awesome classes over at Kelby Training, and they're in a really cool structure. If you've never been over there, you can actually take some sample classes and class segments, and I would highly recommend it, whether you're into photography, Lightroom, Photoshop, Photoshop Elements. There are all kinds of classes there, and it's an amazing, amazing deal. You can sign up monthly, you can sign up annually. Most people just go ahead and sign up for the year because there are so many classes that you want to take, and go ahead and go back there, take them at your leisure and that kind of thing. A lot of times there are companion files, but the thing that sets it apart from all the other online training is the caliber of the instructors. People that we're reading about at a distance and just going, man, these are the greatest people in the world at their craft of photography, at the craft of teaching Photoshop, and they're all there at kelbytraining.com. Hey, you did spend some time with a great trainer and a mutual friend of ours, Zack Arias, and he did some really cool stuff with you, and we've got a really nice piece here.
Take a look. Hey everybody, welcome back to D-Town TV. This is actually something a little different. I'm really, really excited about it. I've been wanting to do kind of a little bit of conversation pieces. And what a good way to be able to start it with my man, Zack. What's going on, man?
Howdy, sir.
What's up?
Thanks for having me down, remote control.
Oh, man, dude. Thanks for coming, man. Thanks for
I
coming.
always think RC.
The remote control.
Remote
Really
control.
cool. Roman Catholic.
Roman Catholic. Rhinoceros is charging.
I'm using that.
Yeah.
I'm keeping it, dude.
There you go.
No, but it's cool because it's like we were sitting there, and this is kind of where this all came about. We were sitting there and we were talking about stuff, and I was just like, all right, well, could we have you on D-Town? Yes. Could you talk about the one light? Could you talk about flash? Could you talk about strobes? Could you talk about all these kinds of things? Well, of course. But you have all of that kind of stuff out there, right?
Right.
It's on the blog. It's on the websites. You've got DVDs. Everybody should get them. Everybody should love them. But it was a conversation that we had at dinner that I thought was kind of really, really cool. And I was just like, you know what, man? That's kind of what you need to talk to people about. And that's the message. And Zack's like, look, I'd love to talk about it.
Yeah, I'd rather talk about these kind of things outside of flash and apertures and what's your favorite lens and all that's out there on the web. You can read a million things about flash, you know. Just go to strobist.com, read David Hobby's blog. Everything you need to know. But it's the other conversations over dinner that I think are important to get out there.
A lot of people don't hear those things, and I think that what happens is they miss out on that. And all right, so let's go back. So what happened was, you were talking about a lot of we're talking about fashion photography. We're talking about photography and models and things like that. And I knew that Zack had gone out to go to New York. You had gone out to New York, and you were doing some stuff out in New York, but I didn't hear anything after that. We kind of dropped off and we're doing some stuff, and I was like, Zack, what's up, man? What happened with the, what's up with the fashion and the model and the photography? And you said something that kind of took me aback. I was like, really, dude? Is
Yeah.
this what you're gonna do?
Yeah. So
So what'd you say? You said models, shooting models.
well, no. What happened is I go to New York with my book, my portfolio. Here's my work, and this book was built after I'd kind of taken a year of, you know what, I want to do personal work. I want to go do projects that I don't normally shoot, and those became kind of fashion-related images and stories. And I'm not a fashion photographer, and really I wasn't going out there to try to be a fashion photographer, but of the subject material I'm typically shooting, fashion's not it. So I wanted to kind of, well, let's go kind of play around in this genre a bit. So I shoot some new work, I put it in my book, I go to New York, and I'm sitting with photo editors and art directors and art buyers, people who I'm needing an introduction to. Look at my work, I want you to hire me. And every person who looked at my book, any time it came up to anything that slightly resembled fashion, was like, why is this in your book? You're not a fashion photographer. You're from Atlanta. You know, like, are you trying to shoot fashion? No, it's just personal work that I'm shooting. It's just, you know, it interests me but no, I'm not trying. Well, then it doesn't need to be in your book. And I just spent a year like just putting all these shoots together myself, and my wife Meg helped me produce them, and we rented locations, and we got hair and makeup artists and stylists, and you know, we went through all the modeling sites, and we went through some agencies in town, and I was really trying to do it right, but I also wasn't trying to do high fashion. And so I come home from that trip like really deflated. Like I just built all this work, and I take it to New York, of course, of all places, fashion capital of the world.
As you would.
And it's destroyed. Out.
How much time would they spend on an image?
Seconds.
Like, was it just like,
yeah, this shouldn't be in your book. This is nice. I like this. This is blah, blah, blah. Yeah, again, anything this fashion look stuff you're doing, you just shouldn't do this. You know,
wow.
and, you know, bam, 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 bam. And it's done. And I walk out of the meeting and I'm like, crap. Well, what do I do with these pictures? So I go home and I'm thinking about this a lot. And it really was great for me to just sort of kind of take a high elevation look and go, what am I doing? Why am I trying to shoot anything related to fashion? All right, number one, I'm in Atlanta, which is not a fashion capital whatsoever. You know, we have some modeling agencies, but there's commercial work and editorial work and a lot of industrial work. So let's say Home Depot is doing a training video, and they need customers walking through the aisle to train employees how to properly use a forklift. Well, they'll go to a modeling agency and hire some people to go stand around and look like Home Depot customers or whatever, right? But we are by no means any kind of fashion capital. Hotbed at all, right? So I start looking at the whole industry, and I start looking at what I was doing, and I start looking around, and my eyes just kind of opened up of, yeah, why am I even bothering with this? Why am I bothering trying to find a model to do a test shoot and all this? And then as I go around and I speak to photographers, they're complaining all the time of, yeah, I tried to book some models to, you know, learn lighting or test this new modifier, and I got flaky models, or I got this, or then they have a model show up and they're showing me the pictures, and it's a pretty girl, but she ain't no model. And I have a little saying, is a pretty girl does not a model make. She's pretty, or he's a good looking enough dude, but they're not a model.
A model's a model.
A model is when you work with a real model, like, and they walk that first foot on step, you're like, there's actually a huge level of professionalism.
Oftentimes they don't even look like a model.
Right. When they walk in the door, you're like, yeah, the broom's over there, honey. You just need to sweep up that pile. Oh, you're the talent. Sorry. You know, the clothes aren't right. You know, I had pictures kicked out because, like, oh my God, who would wear those shoes? I don't know. Look at me. Look at me. I don't know nothing about fashion, right? So I'm meeting other photographers. I'm looking at websites all the time. I'm looking at my own work. And, you know, I think the reason I wanted to do the fashion stuff is because I had this naive idea that, man, get a pretty girl in a pretty dress and pretty light at a cool location and you're done. It's like fish, barrel, gun, bam, finished.
But then what?
But what do I do with it, right? And as I'm looking at photographers trying to hire these model mayhem girls and set up these fashion shoots, and they bring, you know, their clothes that they wear to the club on Saturday night that aren't fashion, you know, or they just bought this at H&M this week. Well, that should have been photographed 2 years ago, you know, kind of thing. The girl's not a model. What she's wearing isn't fashion. And the photographer most likely isn't a fashion photographer. Most likely you're not in a hotbed. It's New York and Paris. Maybe a little LA, a little Miami. And Miami's definitely seasonal.
But if you're not in those spots, you're not in it.
Yeah, and so I am in Atlanta going, what am I doing? I'm building a book of work I can't show. You know, so I had this big realization of, I'm not gonna do that anymore. And what I suggest to photographers now, you know, unless you know, you're ready to change your name to Felipe and move to New York or something, unless you are like, fashion is my life, fashion is my world, I want to be on the cover of Italian Vogue, and I'm ready to go and live in Istanbul for 6 months to shoot a book or something crazy like that. If you're like me, and you're just a dude, and you live in a normal town, like, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time going to Model Mayhem or One Model Place and shooting modeling photos. The girl's not a model. You're not a fashion photographer. So the key word for me now is finding characters, and I think this is my D-Town tip of finding subjects to shoot. You're just getting started, or you're wanting to learn photography. It seems easy to go find a pretty girl or a good-looking enough dude and stand them in front of a softbox. But those pictures they're just gonna go flat in the world. Go find characters. That is now my keyword. When I kind of had this big, like, open, you know, eyed, like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Realization. I go in, my studio manager, Dan, he's my right-hand Dan. I go into the studio one day and I say, Dan, from now on, characters. Think of Joe McNally's work.
Right.
Right? We were talking about this last night.
Mm-hmm.
The work that we know of him. They're characters.
Characters.
Characters. They're not some, you know, half-naked 18-year-old that at the mall, you know. It's a character. It's someone with interest. And how many of us live in towns that if we're just walking around, we go to the coffee shop and there's, you know, some guy sitting at a table and you look at him and you go, oh my gosh, that dude is a character.
And at the end of the day, I think that the thing that we need to learn how to be able to do is when we find that guy,
right?
You want to become a good photographer? Find a way to be able to go to that guy and get that guy to make the picture.
Have a card and say, look, I'm Joe Photographer. Say, hi, I'm Joe McNally. Yeah. Look me up. I want to photograph you. No, say, hey, I'm Joe. I'm Jane Photographer. I'm building a new portfolio of portraits of people in my town. And just saw you sitting here having your coffee, and you're exactly the kind. I love your face. Like, your face is awesome. I'd love to shoot a portrait of you. Would you be up for that sometime? You would be so surprised. I am surprised how many people say, yeah, okay, I'll do that. It's crazy.
Those skills actually take you a lot further than...
They take you so much for being able to talk to strangers or finding new subjects. But then here's the thing, you're building this book, you're building a new work of everyday people. And no one trying too hard. You go on Model Mayhem and you look at everyone trying way too hard. Photographers trying too hard, the girls trying too hard, whoever the model is trying too hard, the makeup artist trying way too hard, the hairstylist has gone way over the top in the wrong direction. Like everything's going, it's just a train wreck visually all over the place happening. But you find some characters. So I met a guy last year, and he's trying to build a book, and he wants to do, editorial and commercial work, and he's trying to hire Model Mayhem girls to build a portfolio and learn and all that. And he worked for a big big corporation who manufactures large equipment. And I'm like, dude, you work for this company. You can shoot everything from the boardroom to the break room. You can be on the line. You have access to the CEO. You have access to everyone in between. You could shoot a whole new portfolio on your lunch break every day. Just go shoot portraits of everyone you work with. Yeah. And he started on the project.
Your body of work could be the person right next to you.
Right.
Cool. Zach?
Yeah.
Always a blast, man.
Or, if that doesn't work, squirrels.
Squirrels?
Squirrels.
Not girls.
Not girls.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks, D-Town.
Thank you very, very much, RC and Zack Arias. I like listening to photographers talk about their craft and their realizations.
There isn't a person out there, I think, that doesn't tip the cards more to show you what's happening than Zack.
Yeah.
Zack's the person who's out there who's pretty much walking the walk, talking the talk, and saying, look, this is what you need to do. This is the good part, this is the bad part, this is the ugly part. So to get a chance to be able to talk to him about things like that, I was very, very grateful. So Zack, thanks so much for doing that.
Good stuff. Now you have a site you want to talk about.
Yes. The site that we want to work with is, the best way for you to be able to remember it is just go to bit.ly, bit.ly/ScottPH. And that site is going to be the site where Scott had a guest blog post from Peter Hurley. Peter Hurley is this phenomenal photographer that showed...
I watched that thing twice.
Yeah.
That was cool.
It's just a great way for you to be able to take a look at the art of making a headshot. Now, what I want you to keep in mind is...
The art of the jawline.
The art of the jawline.
Yeah.
What I want you to keep in mind, though, is you see the link that we put up, bit.ly/ScottPH. That's all in lowercase. Right? If you try to do it in uppercase, it's going to mess up. You're going to get an error. So it's bit.ly/ScottPH, all in lowercase.
Okay.
So take a look at it. Phenomenal. Really, really good stuff.
Yeah, we've all learned quite a bit from it.
That's right. Peter Hurley's the man.
Yep. Now, we have a giveaway today, and it is this book. It's called Film Is Not Dead, and we're giving it away because I haven't read it. It just was here for us to give away today. Now, you guys know the way the giveaways work. You can watch us all over the place. You can watch us on YouTube, and you can watch us on, of course, Kelby, and now live streaming and things. But if you go to kelbytv.com/DTownTV, and leave a comment there, because you can leave comments all over the place. You can leave comments on RC's Google Plus or my Google Plus or my blog or whatever. But the comments that count are the ones at kelbytv.com/DTownTV. And whatever your comment is, good or bad, anything you want to say about the show, anything you want to say about photography in general, about Peter Hurley, you are entered automatically, and we draw one name at random, and we will send this book out.
And you know what? This is a beautiful book. It's Jonathan Canlis and Kristen Kaup. And the photography is by Jonathan Canlis. We got this from our folks over at Peachbit. Thank you so much for that. If you're into film photography and you want to look at some beautiful images, this is the place to do it. You guys are going to love this book. I think it's going to be great. But that pretty much wraps us up for today. So if you're watching this live, you're going to see something in a couple of minutes. But if you're not, make sure you tune in next week. On behalf of myself and Larry Becker,
We'll see you guys.
Take care.
Bye.